Hi, welcome to Total Ownership, Total Awesomeness. Yeah, and I think this is the number one key to all change in life. We just had a quick, I just played a quick clip just before. If it got cut off, that's cool. But what it was Kelly McGonigal, and I'll post the link into this group talking about how to make stress your friend. And the study is, she cites a study that shows that if we perceive stress to be bad, yep, it is. But if we don't perceive stress to be bad, it isn't. And our perception and our ownership is really, really important moving forward. Then I posted the question to everyone in the group that is there a possibility that what we believe to be true isn't? And I was going to go a little bit more into that. That what happens in life, the event, isn't where our reality comes from. Our reality comes from what we as humans, as individuals, as people, attach to that one event. As an example, if I'm walking down the road and I'm just by myself and there's a group of people and I happen to hear them laughing and I turn to the side and one of them happens to be looking at me, I could easily perceive that as those people are laughing at me, that I look funny, that they've said something about me, and I can attach that emotion and that feeling to that event, and then that will impact me, where it's not a true event. It's just what I have attached to it. I love sport. So one of the things in sport that I quite like is when two teams play, one team at the end of the day has more points than the other, and the following day we read the newspaper and we normally get, let's just use a simple sport, one that's pretty easy, the All Blacks playing the Wallabies. So the following day we always see in the New Zealand newspaper how well the All Blacks have played, beating the Wallabies. And then quite often we can read in a Wallabies View newspaper, one out of Sydney, is that the ref made bad decisions and the All Blacks cheated. It's the same game, but we can see different things, different points of view. Okay? And our perception and our point of view is always very different. And that's how we perceive things. It's not the event, it's the story we attach to the event that we believe to be real. For us to move forward, okay, to create the life that we want, we have to understand that we are responsible for that story that we are attaching, that we are the ones creating our own reality. So I'll give you a quick rundown today. I'm going to give you a little story about myself and how I come to firsthand learn the power of total ownership. Then we're going to go through our 4 topics. Okay, the universe is for us, not against us. Inner authority versus outer authority. Taking responsibility for self. We're going to have a look at the concept of building happiness. And then we're going to have a look at the miracle of the universe is perception change. After we've covered those 4 topics, we are then going to go into some hacks, some ways that we can start to set up some systems if you want to take ownership and start to move forward. So just a quick recap on what we quickly talked about. How we see the world, our mind and our consciousness has more impact on our health than our genetics. That there's a possibility that what we believe to be true about ourselves isn't true. It's a whole lot of made up stories and perceptions and belief that we've attached to events that we now hold to be true. And sometimes if our identity is attached to that, we will fight back black and blue to defend that identity, even if it doesn't serve us. Up until the point where we take total ownership. Once we take total ownership, we have the opportunity to move forward. I'm going to give you a little story about myself. I'm 9 years old and I wake up one morning. Things seem a little bit different today. Can't find mum immediately at the start, and dad's outside talking to someone. It just has a bit of a different feel. And as the day starts to unpack, I've realised that mum has left. In the middle of the night, mum has left. Now, at this stage, my brother is still with us, and it's dad and me and my brother, and all the stuff is digesting. Well, over the week, we find out that mum has left dad. On the Sunday the following week, I had spoken with my mum that day. She knew that my dad and I were going out on the Sunday. And when we were out, my mum turns up and she picks up my brother and she takes him. So when we come home, my mum has now taken my brother. Okay, he was only 7 at the time. I was 9. We did have a nanny, so he wasn't at home by himself. That started to set me up on a moment of having abandonment issues, of that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't a good person. I was the type of person that my mum would rather leave behind than take. Not only that, my father was blaming me for years that I was in on this. So now my dad, I had beliefs, I had made rules and stories that my dad didn't love me, that he blamed me for this stuff going on. I obviously believe that I was the reason why mum left, because she chose to come back when I wasn't home and take my brother, leaving me there behind as a 9-year-old boy whose mum had abandoned. Well, a couple of years later, I'm now at high school and I'm about 14 years of age. And what I started to notice is my right testicle started growing a little bit longer, a little bit larger, a little bit bigger. This was a few months after my auntie had just passed away of cancer. I wasn't close with my dad. I was really not withdrawn, but Dad and I had a relationship that was pretty much, if I did something wrong, he would beat me, and he would always tell me all the time how many things I did wrong. His way of showing love to me, which I came to learn later on, because I took ownership and I did speak with him, but his way was to help me see what I was doing wrong. If you can fix what you're doing wrong, you'll have success. But for me at that point, I just picked up that I wasn't enough. It's another story banking in that I wasn't enough. Over the next year to 2 years, I was terrified that I had cancer, testicle cancer, and my testicle grew and grew. In the end, when I was 21, they removed 380 mils of fluid. That's more fluid than you'd get out of a Coke can from my testicle. So that testicle, that was there. And my nickname at school started to become BD, Big Dick. But that wasn't true. I'm just an average guy, well, above average guy. But now I'm going through that time of puberty. Interesting girls, but I've got this massive testicle. Not only that, people are calling me BD, but I don't. I've got a deformity and I believe it's cancer. I was only growing up with a dad who only communicated with me in a way who he showed his love by trying to get me to be better by always highlighting everything I did wrong, but we never communicated much. I started to have issues with women. I couldn't communicate with them. I was obviously not worthy and was able to be left behind. My own mum left me. And now I've got this deformity. And not only that, all these people think I've got a huge big dick, but I don't. Not only that, I am deformed. Now, a couple of years later, I meet this amazing person. You've probably heard me talk about it before, Amanda. And as you know, Amanda ends up having a cardiac arrest and she passes away. Well, when we were fighting to get a second opinion, because this is back in the day before they put in pacemakers, the primary treatment approach at this period of time was medication, propranolol, a beta blocker. And we're having communication and it all flared up, it went wrong, and I grabbed the cardiologist by the throat and I pushed him up next to the wall. Her dad comes around and grabs me on the shoulder. I've just lost control for some reason and I've elbowed him. Her father hits the ground, and then Amanda goes and has another cardiac arrest. A year later, she passes away. 10 years later, I'm injecting drugs. Of course, I'm a drug addict, aren't I? My mum left me. I had a deformity into, huge testicles. Yeah, I couldn't communicate with women. I was so aggressive and angry that I would throw a cardiologist up next to the wall. What sort of prick and person am I? That's how I saw things. I had a victim mindset. Of course, I need drugs to numb things. Look at all the backstory that happened. It wasn't until I realized that was bullshit. It wasn't the events. That I started to take ownership and started to realize that it was the story that I had associated to that event. It was the fact that a lot of stuff kept coming up in my life, and it kept coming up over and over and over again, because that was the universe trying to teach me a lesson, but I wasn't seeing the lesson. I was turning a blind eye to it. Now, I always used to think in life there was two ways that we would create change. We'd go right or we go left. And if we go left, it ends up at a point of total negative impact, total disaster. And that's the point where I ended up. I had a victim mindset. I did not take ownership for myself, for the ways that I was attaching, the meanings that I was attaching to things. I was allowing life to create me. I wasn't creating life. I ended up in total negative impact before I created change. What I've realized is it doesn't matter if you go to total negative impact or if you want to create change today, the steps are exactly the same. Step one is awareness. We must be aware of where we currently are and what we want. Step two, is total ownership. That what we believe is reality isn't reality. It's just attachments that we have put onto events that have created our reality. I realized that everything that was happening to me wasn't happening to me. It was how I was perceiving what was happening. And in that period of time, I was blessed. I was blessed with this opportunity. And this opportunity is I have seen the power of ownership. I have seen the miracle of the universe being perception change. And now that I've got that understanding, I coach others through that and create that life change. So not only is my life gone from the victim who couldn't speak to women, who was a drug addict, to now being a coach and empowering men, to be a person who is a great father to a 2-year-old daughter, to someone who has the opportunity to sit here and share some concepts with you, and hopefully some of this information might resonate with you and might add value to your life and to the life of others. But that all started when I took ownership, when I took total responsibility for what was happening in my life, was the way I responded to the events, not the events themselves. Because life will keep happening. Stress will keep being there. Remember, stress isn't bad. In the clip we played earlier, it's how you perceive stress. So, let's just get into topic number one. So the reason why I just shared that story was to show that we can get from feeling abandoned, poor communicator, don't get on with women, have sexual deformities, etc., and be a victim and pull away. Or when we take ownership, we can create something beautiful. We can create a loving relationship. Yep, we can create a beautiful daughter. That didn't happen because the events in my life changed. That happened because I took ownership and I created that change. I was aware of what was happening. I took pure ownership and then I had a go. And one thing I just really want to let everyone know when we're out there, when we're moving forward, is you don't have to be great to start. But if you don't start, you'll never be great. That's the key. Yeah. A lot of the stuff that we come up, yeah, when I took total ownership and I started putting things into place, I had to learn. Yeah. The age of 40 when I gave up drugs, I'd been using drugs from my late teens daily for like 30 years. Now I'm a 40-year-old man with the coping strategy of a 16-year-old. Yeah, bankrupt, death, all the stuff on my hands. I had to learn these skills. I had to learn them. Yeah, so for a lot of us, as we go through this, I want you to understand that there is a lot of learning. And the learning is great. So let's look at step one. The universe is for us, not against us. Okay? What that means is the universe will keep presenting us lessons. If we listen to what those lessons are, we can grow. Yeah? If things keep happening to you over and over and over again, yeah, there's a good chance you're not listening to that lesson to start with. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you a story because it has a huge impact on me, this story. And it's a story of George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. Now in 1974, they have a fight, okay? And in the build-up to this fight, okay, the rumble in the jungle, Muhammad Ali was having a fight in 2 fights ago against Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali have an epic fight, a real battle, and at the end, Joe Frazier wins. World champion Joe Frazier. Now Joe Frazier, in his next fight, fights George Foreman. Yeah, this is before, if you're not aware, this is before of the George Foreman grill guy that you might know. This guy was a beast. Yeah? And George Foreman dismantles, yep, absolutely dismantles Joe Frazier in a few rounds. Now Muhammad Ali is about to fight George Foreman. And everyone believes that Muhammad Ali is going to lose. Yep, he just lost to Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, and George Foreman destroyed Joe Frazier. So in the training camp, they're getting ready and they're going through. So Muhammad Ali's training camp, boom, 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 fighting away. They're going through the systems and they keep asking all the sparring partners, do you think Muhammad Ali is going to win? And they're all like, yes, yes, yes. Yep, he's definitely going to win. He's the champ. He's awesome. And they're pumping him up. But one of the fighters says, no, I think you're going to lose. I think Muhammad Ali is going to lose. And the coaches want to pull this fighter out. pull him away, because he's going to destroy the mindset of Muhammad Ali. He's going to get in and affect him. But Muhammad Ali is like, no, 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 no. Yeah, I want to hear what he says. So he listens to him. Yeah, and what this guy says to him is, you're not big enough. You're not strong enough. You won't be able to stay away from him. He will eventually catch you. He will catch you, and because he's so big and so strong, he will beat you. And Muhammad Ali listens to him, and he's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but you're going to stay in the camp. I know my coaches want to get rid of you, but you're going to stay in the camp, and you're going to stay in this camp until you believe that I can win. Now, over the next week or so, what the coaches have noticed is Muhammad Ali isn't himself. He's completely changed. Yep. He's not out and aggressive and fighting. He's staying back. He's getting hit a lot more. He's taken a completely different approach to his fighting, and they're really worried. Yep. Now, what happens in the fight when it comes up? It became a very famous fight, and it's called the rope-a-dope system. Yep. Where Muhammad Ali now fights George Foreman. And for most of the fight, he's just staying in, just taking the blows, he's getting hit. And he uses a system called rope-a-dope. That's when he uses the strength of the barrier of the ring to hit and absorb. And he listened to what this person had said to him. That this guy was too big, too strong, he was going to catch him. He learned, he listened, he absorbed that information, and he took that into his fight strategy, and he let George pummel him and pummel him and pummel him until George got tired. And he used the ring and he used everything to help, and then he came out. Yep. And then he beat George Foreman in the dying rounds. He listened. He had a growth mindset. He understood that the person he was that day when that fighter said that to him wasn't the person that would win that fight. But it was his responsibility. Yeah, he took ownership of what was going on. He didn't listen to his coaches. He didn't listen. He took responsibility. He took ownership. He had the growth mindset. Even though he was the champ, the leader, and the best, he listened to this guy. He took that information. He brought it on board. He adjusted his system. He created a system, and he created change. Yeah, that is listening to the universe. That is taking ownership. That is having a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is, today I might not have the skill to succeed, but I will have. I will have that skill to succeed. The universe doesn't create energy. It doesn't destroy energy. Energy changes. Everything that we want for ourselves, every possibility that we want for our life is already there. We just have to choose to take it. We need a growth mindset. Listen to the universe. If something happens in life, if you always pick the wrong partner, if you always have communication issues, yeah, if you never have enough money, yeah, if things keep happening to you all the time in life, guess what? You haven't listened. At no stage have you saved money. Have you learned to communicate? Have you done enough work on yourself to connect with the right partner? That is for you. Take ownership of that situation and do the work. Muhammad Ali had to do the work. The universe is for us, not against us. Listen to the lessons, and that is where your growth will come. Okay? Adopt your growth mindset, yeah, and do the work. Inner authority versus outer authority. Now, this is one of the major keys, and this is something that I see missing a lot in life, okay, is we are, as a society, currently at the moment, outsourcers. Yeah, I'll outsource my design work and go to Upwork. I'll outsource the responsibility for my body, and I'll get a dietitian to tell me what to eat. Yeah, I'll outsource my responsibility, etc., etc. Okay, and inner authority is you taking control for yourself. How many of us out there are different? Our gender, our background, our religious belief, yeah, the household that we grew up in, the school that we went to. Yeah, if I was to present this one talk to 1,000 different people, how many different ways would it be perceived? Probably 1,000 different ways. We are all completely different. And when we start to stop outsourcing responsibility, oh, Brendon, but you don't understand. Yeah, my wife cooks food like that, I have to eat that way. Oh, you don't understand, Brendon. My family's like that, I have to be like that. When we start outsourcing our responsibility and don't listen to ourselves, don't turn inward, don't feel what's going on for us, we're not going to set ourselves up for success. Our inner authority, we are all different. What works for one person won't work for someone else. Yeah, there's a reason why diets, why some people thrive on vegans and others suffer. Yeah, the amount of people I have met that have had their identity attached to a food eating system that goes against them, yeah, is phenomenal. It's amazing, but they'll push through it, either through their identity or someone set it up for them. They are not taking an inner authority to find out what works for them. And when we start to take an inner authority, where we take total responsibility for us, and that we understand that we will run these experiments, and these experiments will then assess ourselves for our own human flourishing. Because what works for me might punish you. Getting up at 4 a.m. Yeah, doing your lymphatic brushing, doing a little bit of breath work, yeah, having a cold shower, yeah, going for a walk in the cold in your t-shirt, yeah, doing your journaling, yeah, that might suck for you. Yeah, so if I give you some concepts like that and then you try them and they don't work, it's for you to make an adjustment. And what we'll find with a lot of people is, I'm going to use a definition of powerlifting. Now, a lot of people out there will go and lift a particular way. Yeah, they might lift in the conjugate method, made famous by Westside Barbell Company. Now, two different people can follow the conjugate system, but have a slightly different variation of that. The way that they use their dynamic effort or, max effort systems, how often they're using bands and change, what percentages of change they do, how undulating is it, are they using daily undulating periodization, etc., etc. But they are lifting conjugate. But for someone to thrive, they need to do the system, the variation that's best for themselves. And in all martial arts, they use this system: learn, master, evolve. Take responsibility. Do your own experiment. Does it work for you? Yes, no. If you are eating a particular way, we'll come back to food. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go over that. If you eat a particular way, easiest way to tell if it works for you, stand up, take your waist measurement. Yep. If you're a man, yeah, is bigger than 94 centimeters, yep, that's metabolic distress. You have fat around your organs, and whatever you're doing is not working for you. Yeah? You need to find a way to decrease that inflammation, to get that waist down. Yeah? And that's your responsibility. What food works for you might not work for someone else. That is our inner authority. Stop outsourcing responsibility to others. Take responsibility on yourself. Your body, your life, your goals, your angle of perspective, what's happened to you in the past, your family is all completely different. So it's up to you to find out what works best for you. as a part of inner authority comes up this topic. Okay? And this topic is self-parenting. Now, not only do I see a disconnection, and if you listen to me before, you know that what I talk about is connection. Connection is key. Connection to where you really are. Connection to where you want to be. Connection to yourself. Yep. What works for you. Taking total ownership and having an inner authority and stop outsourcing. Well, there comes a part where we're going to have to self-parent. Does anyone know what the job of a parent is? What do parents get kids to do? Yeah. Love, inspiration, validation. But the main thing that a parent does is they make kids do what is best for them, even if the kid doesn't want to do it. And that is something that is missing in a lot of us as adults. We don't do the uncomfortable. Yeah? Taking ownership and creating a flourishing life, I will let you know now. It is uncomfortable. It is inconvenient. You have to do things that you currently don't do. There will be learning. There will be growth. There will be failure until there is success. But we need to self-parent. We need to make ourselves do things that is best for us, even if we don't want to. Yep. Get to fucking bed on time. Eat healthy food. Get rid of the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. It's your responsibility. I don't like pointing, but I'm going to. It's your responsibility. I don't care if you think that this has happened in the past and this has happened in the past and this has happened in the past. We've already spoken about that. It's not true. There is no truth to anything that's happened in your life except a story that you've attached to it. And that story is most likely not right. Now, not only is self-parenting making yourself do things that you don't want to, that is better for you, it breaks into two parts. And we'll break into the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Now, the divine feminine is based off inspiration, nurturing, compassion, self-love. Yeah? For us to be able to jump in and move forward, we need to be allowing. Yeah? We need to have our intuition. We need to be creative. We need to be able to surrender to some of these past thoughts and concepts. And we need to be able to go inward through inspiration that we know that there's a greater good. And by turning inward, becoming expressive in regards to what we want to move forward and allowing ourselves to feel. These are all powerful divine feminine energies. And in today's world, that's over masculine, over driven, etc., allowing ourselves to become in touch with our inspiration, our divine feminine, is very, very important. On the other hand, the divine masculine, validation, self-validation. If total ownership wasn't the biggest thing going on, where most people aren't taking ownership. They believe they are a victim of their past, of their story. They don't understand that everything that they think is true is just made up crap that they've attached. And as soon as you take ownership for those stories and create your new narrative, you will change your life. Yeah, do the work. Or shut the fuck up. There's a reason why I wear this shirt. I bought it from someone. Okay? Yeah. It is your responsibility. Yeah? That when it comes to self-parenting, it's about making ourselves do things that we don't want to do. Now, I've seen this over and over again. Yeah? People think the the universe is against them. It's not. It's for them. Listen to the lessons, and that's where your growth will come. Okay? We outsource responsibility. As soon as you take total responsibility for something, you will change it immediately. That's it. Yeah. That is 100% the truth. But outside of us not taking ownership, us not taking, an inner authority. Yeah. The next thing that I see quite a lot, one of the biggest things is most people out there do not know how to validate from within. Brendon, that was a kick-ass job you did to actually feel good from the inside without needing an external source. Most of us are like, if I make more money, I'll be successful. External. Yep. If my body looks a particular way, I'll feel happier. Yep. That's because they think other people will perceive them a particular way. Yep. When we learn to validate from within, and for a lot of men out there, it's something I see a lot. We are terrible at this. We are programmed to not love ourselves, to believe that we are doing a good job, and we're always chasing external validation. Once we understand that self-parenting is a big step to creating this inner authority, for us taking responsibility, for us to self-mother, to self-parent from the feminine side, to give ourselves inspiration, nurturing, self-love, self-care, compassion, expression inward, and also at the same time to self-parent ourselves. Because the job of a parent is to teach a kid how to parent, but who was taught how to do that? Probably no one. Probably no one was taught how to be a parent, to how to be an adult. Yeah. And the masculine, the divine masculine, support, provide, stable, logical, but validation. The role of the father is to validate, to feel worthy. And as an adult, the role of validation is from within. And as soon as we get that perception change and we realize it's our responsibility to make ourselves feel good for the stories that we tell ourselves from the inside, that will change. Because it doesn't matter how many people tell you stuff from the outside, how much money you got, what your body looks like, and what people tell you. If you don't feel it, it means nothing. It doesn't work. The only time you will feel good is when you do it from within. So that's self-parenting. The next topic I'm going to go quickly into is building happiness. It's a skill, okay? The more we do it, the better we'll get. Okay, now there's something out there called the Lasada line. Okay, the Lasada line is how many times we can create success by a happiness bias. And on average, it's 3. But I'm a nerd, I like numbers. What they've shown is to have more positive compared to negative bias thoughts will drive success. Okay, the actual number is 2.9013 to 11.6346. Okay, so somewhere in that zone. Most of us don't have that bias where we're getting 3 positive feedbacks to a negative. We have the swing the other way. So now we don't have a strong happiness bias. We're seeing things more from the negative. It's much harder to drive and move forward. Once we take total ownership, once we understand that the universe is giving us a lesson to grow, and that growth is success. Having these things come up, that the perception that we perceive, it's not the event that's bad, it's how we perceive it. Do I perceive it as a growth opportunity, or do I perceive it as I'm useless? That is the growth. And then we understand that we're going to have to self-parent. I have to create my own inspiration. I have to create my own validation, and I have to start making myself do things. So to build happiness, I'm going to have to start to do stuff. And I want to be creating a 3-to-1 positivity bias. Yeah? Stuff like an artist date. I love the artist date. Once a week, make time just for you. Yep, to do something that you love. Make sure that it's something different. Because what they've shown is that when you go on holiday, for a lot of people, you'll get more benefit planning the holiday than actually going on it. So in the artist state, it makes you prioritize yourself. Yep, we can't pour from an empty cup. If you aren't prepared to put all your time and energy into yourself, no one else will. It's the first step of self-love, of self-parenting, is to give to self, to allow compassion, creativity, expression. Okay? So we want to do stuff to build happiness. But remember the inner authority. What will build happiness for you will be different to me. So if I tell you to go on an artist date, once a week find something amazing to do, and it doesn't work for you, that's cool. Find out what does. Yeah. The last component. The universe has miracles. And I greatly believe that the miracle in life is perception change. If you change your perception, your life will change. If we change our narrative, how we perceive things, our internal dialogue, the stories that we tell ourselves, yeah, if we perceive as falling and falling and falling as not stumbling blocks, but as stepping stones, that the only way that we will grow and move forward is if we have an opportunity to fail and rise again, that we will change. That the universe can't create and destroy energy. Everything is already there. It's what you choose to delete and distort. Every bit of success is there for you. You can be anything you want because you actually are already that right now. You don't have to create it. You just have to see it. Like the eclipse. Yeah, with a beautiful, yeah. You are your own eclipse. You are the only thing blocking your brightness. So you have to get the fuck out of your own way. You have to allow yourself the possibility for awesomeness and take ownership for it. No matter what has ever happened to you, yeah, I understand that things suck. Yeah, my father was shot. Yeah, but it's not, my responsibility to undo that. But it's my responsibility to interact how I choose to feel about that situation and the impact that that situation has on my life. I get to choose my impact and take ownership. Yeah, my partner Amanda passed away because I believe I communicated poorly that day that I lost it and threw the cardiologist next to the wall and hit her dad. Yeah, that I couldn't communicate. I was a piece of shit. My mum had already left me, and here's another reason why. Yeah, and now she passed away. Yeah, I had to take ownership of that situation and heal myself when it come to it. The situation sucked. I can't change the event. I can only change how I interact with that event. So as a recap, as always, this 45-minute chat is running late, but I'm going to finish in the next 10. Here we go through it. How we see the world. Our mind and our consciousness has more of an impact over your biology and your health than your genetics. That our perception of events, yeah, the perception is a lot more powerful than the event. We looked at the universe as for us, not against us. That the lessons that the universe gives us is growth opportunities. We looked at an inner authority versus an outer authority. About outsourcing our happiness to others. About outsourcing our health to others. That there's an actual inner authority. And that inner authority is us connecting to ourselves to know what is best for us. But to do that, we have to be aware and we have to be vigilant and we have to be connected. That most of us who aren't thriving in the areas aren't self-parenting. And self-parenting is making ourselves do the things that we don't want to do that is best for us. That we need to be creating our own divine feminine energy, our ability to allow. to feel compassion, self-love, and to inspire ourselves to live that great life. That we need to connect to our divine masculine, yeah, to be supportive, to be a provider, to be stable for ourselves, and to be able to validate ourselves, to feel that we are worthy from within, because the only way you'll ever feel enough is from fucking within. Then we looked at building happiness, and building happiness is a skill. Happiness equals success. And once we take total ownership of our life, we have to put things in place. We talked about the Lasada line. Yep, 2.9013 to 11.6346. Okay, 3-to-1 ratio of happiness bias across. Yep, so we're going to talk about ants shortly, which is automated negative thoughts, and how we're going to squish the ants. Okay, and we had a look at things like the artist day. Yeah, that we need to build happiness. We need to find time to make time for ourselves, to do things that we love and express and play. Yeah, to connect to that divine feminine. We've got to keep connecting to the divine feminine today, because the bias of masculine is amazing. Most people think man up, harden up, do more, work harder, burn out is success. It's not. We all know it's not. Because if we kept doing that in the way that we have for the last 50 or 100 years, we wouldn't be where we are today. And we looked at the miracle of the universe is perception change. When that you take true ownership of your life, that is a perception change. When you start to see that the universe is for you, not against you, that's a perception change. When you start to understand that you can turn your stumbling blocks into stepping stones, that's a perception change. The miracle of the universe is perception change. Now let's have a look at a few ways that we can go. To finish off quickly, well, you know me, I'm doing my best to finish quickly. It's an area that I care about. It's a deep topic, and I want to give you value. You can go back and re-watch this. Number one, intention. These are our hacks. Intention is number one. The intent that we set for our life to be awesome. That is step one, because setting that intention sets the wheel in motion. That sets the universe up to work for us. That sets our reticular activating device, our filter, up to be aware of the possibilities. Setting intention is very powerful. Yeah. Having a growth mindset. Understanding that we're going to fail and fail and fail until we succeed. And that's the joy of growth. If we didn't fail, then we're not growing. We don't have a goal. We just have a to-do list. Yeah. And if things aren't where we want them to be, yeah, we need to grow into the person that we want. Yeah. And most of that growth, us growing into the person that we want to be, isn't creating something new. It's just allowing that part of us to shine through, because the universe doesn't create or destroy anything. Everything we have is already there. We just have to focus more on those points. Ants, automated negative thoughts. Yep. We need to take ownership and stop these negative thoughts. Squish them when they come up. Yeah, we want to be creating a 3-to-1 bias. Now, whose responsibility is that? It's yours. Sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, yeah, very few things are going to go right. Because what happens is when we undersleep, okay, our immune system goes down. Our fatigue goes up. Our desire to overeat goes up. We get shifted out of our prefrontal cortex into our limbic brain, and now we become a non-responder. We become really reactive. We try to get out of pain straight away. Yep. We can't live our best version of our life if we're undersleeping. And why is undersleeping so hard? Yeah. Because we're not taking total responsibility. We're not using our inner authority. If you need coffee to get up, if you're waking up and you're tired, if you wish you had more sleep and you're having afternoon crashes, yeah, you are not connected to yourself and seeing stuff. And the reason why sleep is so hard for a lot of people is because they don't want to go to bed on time, because life sucks up until bedtime. And at the end of the day, if their whole life was just work and connecting with family, there's got to be more to that. So they want to stay up and watch 6 hours, 3 hours of Netflix. Yeah, but self-parenting makes us do something that we don't want to do for the greater good. Getting to sleep. Bonding. Okay. When we bond, we release a hormone called oxytocin. Okay, the hug hormone. Oxytocin will repair heart damage caused by stress. When we get stressed, we tense up, our heart goes faster and we tense up. That creates damage in the heart wall. Oxytocin undoes that. Oxytocin allows those heart vessels to open up. Bonding is the key. Your tribe is the key, as long as it's working for you. Okay. When we're starting to go through this and we start creating total ownership for total awesomeness, we want to make sure we're practicing daily gratitudes. What am I grateful for today? We want to get that focus. Remember that Lasada line, that 3-to-1. Yep, we want to be grateful. We want to be grateful for the average, for the nice cup of coffee, for the sun coming through, for the average. Happiest people are happy with the day-to-day life. It's really easy to be happy for extraordinary events. When I do that business deal and make my first million, yeah, when I buy my first M3, when I go on that amazing holiday, of course you're going to feel awesome for them. That's cool. But what do we feel awesome for about making your breakfast in the morning? What do you feel amazing about having to do the dishes? We got an opportunity to do the dishes, yeah, because we cooked a beautiful meal for our friends. When we connect our gratitudes to the everyday, a power will come from that. And the other gratitude that's really, really powerful that will create massive change in your life is connecting power to a life lesson. Turning a negative into a positive. Because that's where your growth comes from. Nothing is wrong. It's just a lesson. If you happen to lose control when you're communicating with your partner, it's not the end of the world. That's where you get to grow. That's where you get to learn to do that a different way. Yeah, so once we start to have a gratitude, so one of my gratitudes that I get all my clients to do is, what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for in the average, in the day-to-day? And what life lesson are you grateful for that you got the opportunity to learn in your school, grow and evolve? Then we also do validations. Why are you worthy? What did you do well today? Yeah, really important. We need to learn to validate within, to self-validate. So, what did you do well today? What situation did you handle well today? Yeah, remember we did intentions at the start. Okay, intentions was number one. I make time for awesomeness. I take total responsibility. I have my awesomeness journal. I do it morning and night. In that awesomeness journal, I ask myself questions. Who do I want to show up as today? Yeah. Why do I deserve that level of success? And what might I come up against today, yeah, that might hold me back? What challenge might I face? So I set my intentions today on who do I want to be? Why do I deserve it? Then I have my gratitudes. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for on the average? What am I grateful for in that lesson? In that thing that didn't go right today? What am I grateful for in that? And I set up my validations. Why am I proud of what I did? What did I do well? Yeah, and I do that a number of times. Understanding the concept of learning. If you're not learning, you're not growing. Yeah, and we want to be growing. So we want to get out there and get learning and get growing. When we take total ownership, we're going to start to see that where we are compared to where we want to get, there's going to be a shortfall. Yep. In that, we'll be learning. And we're going to have that perception change. Remember the perception change in miracle? The miracle of the universe is perception change. That every time we fail, We are stacking blocks on top of each other until they get high enough until we, bang, succeed. We never anymore have stumbling blocks. We only have stepping stones. And if we're not failing, our goal isn't big enough. That life is uncomfortable. It's unpredictable, unfamiliar, yeah. And when we create this change and move into total awesomeness, it will be uncomfortable. It will be inconvenient. So we want to practice building strength in doing the uncomfortable. Get up a bit earlier. Go to bed a bit earlier. Go to bed earlier. Get up a bit earlier. Make your bed immediately. Your partner's still in the bed, maybe not make it. Yep. Do as many push-ups as you can. Yeah, go for a walk in the cold in your t-shirt. Have a cold shower. Yeah, create that time for yourself. Start to build strength in doing the uncomfortable, in self-parenting. Because that's where your key will come from. Yeah, create your vision. Create a vision board and see it. Everything in life is always created twice. Yep. First in the mind, then in reality. If you can't see it, connect it, feel it, it won't happen. But that is for you to take ownership of that. 2 to go. Tribe. Your tribe. Yep. If you want to see your future, look at your 5 closest friends. Do they have everything that you want? Are they successful in all the areas of your life that you want to be? Yeah. I'm going to let you know this now. Look at your life. Look at what you have today. Because what you have today, what your relationship is like, what your income is like, what friends are like, what your house is like, all these things are what you truly believe you deserve. That is why you have them. So when we create total awesomeness by taking total ownership and we start doing the uncomfortable, yeah, and we start working on our affirmations and our gratitudes and what else, start squashing our ants and getting to sleep and bonding and understanding that learning will have failing and stuff all in it, that our tribe, that friend power is better than willpower. Are we connected to the right tribe? We know that bonding, oxytocin will help us. We know that being a part of our tribe will help us. If we join all them together in charity and giving back to the community, boom, something amazing happens. Do you have the right tribe? And the other thing that I want to finish on is massive action. Yeah. A child learns to walk not because it stumbles once or twice and gives up, because it falls and falls and falls again. For like 2 years, it falls every day until it can walk. When was the last time you took action every single day, failing for 2 years until you succeed? That is taking massive action. So I'm just going to give you a quick recap. If you take total ownership, you will have total awesomeness. That is it. Number 1, that the way we perceive the world, our emotions and our thoughts are a lot more powerful to human flourishing, health, and success in every area than our life than our genetics or any other factor. That what we currently believe is reality isn't, it's just a belief in a story that we've attached to something. And if we've attached a limiting belief, we can attach an empowering belief. But for us to do that, we are going to have to understand that the universe is there for us, not against us. That the universe is giving us lessons. And if we listen to those lessons, we can grow and change. That we need to have an inner authority. Take true ownership of ourselves and stop outsourcing responsibility to have someone tell us how to eat. There's a reason why so many diets are out there and they work for a couple of people and not for everyone else. Yeah. If you try it, it's not for you, try the right one. Try the right one. It's your inner authority. Don't outsource your body, your physiology, your goal, your life to someone else. That's your responsibility. To have a growth mindset. Yeah. To self-parent. To do what is uncomfortable for the greater good. To create your own mothering, your own divine feminine energy, where you can be inspired, that you allow yourself expression, allow yourself to feel, to nurture compassion, self-love, and healing. To also self-parent on the divine masculine, to self-validate, to internal validate, to support, provide, and be stable for yourself. That we're going to build happiness. And for that we want a 3-to-1 ratio. And we can do that through things like the artist date. Trying to find things that we can actually make time for ourselves that we like, that empower us. And that's our inner authority to find out what we do. Because you mightn't like walking or photography like me. You might like something else. And that the universe has a beautiful miracle, and it's perception change. If I perceive stress to be bad, it will kill me. If I perceive stress to be beneficial, it will heal me. That perception change. If I perceive the universe to be there for me, not against me, and that it's just showing me lessons where I can grow, I will evolve. Otherwise, it will beat me down. That our hacks to change this was through setting the intention. Who do I want to be today? Why do I deserve that level of success? And what might I come up to? Set the intention at the start. We talked about a growth mindset. We talked about squashing ants, our automatic negative thoughts, and reprogramming them when they come up. We talked about getting sleep, creating bonding, our gratitudes, in the great, in the average, and in the life lessons. We looked at validations. What are we doing well? We talked about learning, that for you to get from A to B, there has to be a growth. And we don't have stumbling blocks anymore. We turn them into stepping stones. We looked at building strength, that the life is uncomfortable. Creating change is inconvenient. So we're going to learn how to build strength. Daily routines, getting up with no snooze, getting up earlier because we went to bed earlier. To cold showers, to whatever it is for you, where you can take daily action, in building strength and doing the uncomfortable. That we're going to have a vision board because everything's created twice, first in the mind, then in reality. We looked at connecting to a tribe that's going to drive us with success. And we're going to take massive action because life is really important. Life is awesome if you take ownership and responsibility. Hi, Chupples. Okay. Total ownership. Total awesomeness. It's your life, your responsibility. Hope you got a lot of value out of that. Have a great day.